As a kid in kindergarten, there was a day when a teacher came into the class with a compass. At first sight, I was intrigued by the spinning arrow that pointed toward my empty wall. The teacher clearly stated not to break these, and to be very careful not to hold a magnet up close to the compass, or else it would certainly ruin the tool. In spite of this, I dared to hold the magnet toy I found near my house, and sure enough, it pointed toward me. At the time, I thought the compass was ruined because of me, not because of the magnet. I saw myself as flawed, causing the magnet to be so as well. In the show Lost, one of the main characters, Jacob, constantly observed human nature and also saw that it was flawed. Jacob and his brother were initially left on the island, shipwrecked and alone as the last survivors. Jacob's brother, also known as the Man in Black, constantly tries to escape the island after realizing it is not his home. Their mother, or better said caregiver, made it impossible for him to leave the island and for both to hurt each other. This sentence created anger within the Man in Black that was impossible to burn out. In turn, this rage led to the destructive events of many innocent lives and to the failed attempt to extinguish the island. With one brother trying to protect the world from drowning in evil and the other trying to release its malice over mankind, they struggled to reach one of the most powerful tools provided for by Mother Nature. In this show, men struggle for control of the island in order to empower themselves by manipulating people and nature's magnetic energy. Although the wonder of invisible energy such as electromagnetism causing time travel and movement does not convey a realistic picture of Mother Nature's power, the mere suggestion of it reinforces man's stubborn wishes of dominion. The episode that best embodies the fight for power is in the 6th season of Lost, in the episode titled Across the Sea. The highlights of the episode deal with some of the reasons for causing many events throughout the show. Growing up, Jacob was considered the one who was not as special as the boy in black. The first sign of competitiveness and manipulation is manifested when the woman meets the true boy's mother, Claudia. Killing Claudia after giving birth and acting as the twins' real mother was a shockingly insane thing to do. Then again, there is a possibility that the island's supernatural and mystical electromagnetic powers, as portrayed by this show, could have caused serious damage to her cognitive reasoning. An occurrence like this would not be surprising due to the constant unusual things that go on in the show already, such as the appearances of loved ones passed away, time travel, and the invisible plastic smoke. As a consequence of this one terrible action done by the mother, a series of events begins that sacrifice the lives of many innocent people. The ongoing repetition of this deceiving action of manipulation and war replays itself in the actions of the two brothers, which is more the direct cause of events that display the struggle did not end with the woman, even after her murder by the Man in Black. Characters in the show suffered and died under the opposing wills of the twins over the unrealistic power of electromagnetism. Ever since the beginning when Jacob and his brother were young, there seemed to be signs of future obstacles to come, from the very clothing they wore to the game they kept playing. The black and white garments the brothers chose to wear, and the competition they put themselves up to when playing the game could mean that they are almost meant to be against each other. Since black and white are the classic contrast, black representing evil and white representing goodness. This again foreshadows their destiny of their differing future paths. The roads are determined by their own use of the island's electromagnetic energy. The heart of the island contains electromagnetic energy that caused many of the events during the show. Jacob and his brother both wished to have their way. Since the Man in Black knew he could not harm his brother, he decided someone else could do it. Consequently, the most ridiculously impossible incident happens when the plane falls out of the sky because of a magnetic discharge that was handled by one man in a lab. It is not only unrealistic, but it is also truly shocking. For a plane to be pulled down from its course at 40,000 feet in altitude is simply not possible. The image of a single man having control over a situation like this makes this a scene explaining the power of electromagnetic force and the influence that one can have with such a powerful tool. Jacob's brother had the world at his mercy with this tool, and was determined to destroy and manipulate to be free, using the same tool Jacob used to destroy him. The man in black once told his brother Jacob that he had taken away its humanity by destroying his physical body. As far as science goes, there has certainly been cases where electromagnetic waves emitted enough radiation in order for people to die, but obviously never to transform or create something destroyed into something new that can fly around and take the form of deceased people and relatives like the Black Smoke. Out of the utter frustration that the man in black received from his brother after being pushed into a pool of negatively charged substance and his solitary confinement on the island, he manages to manipulate and destroy the island once again as his last move. Even though he never really did leave the island, it was perhaps not because of the lack of power he managed to achieve, but because of the unrealistic world he lived in. He is chasing the ghost of freedom when he knows that he is condemned to the island. The true opposition is possibly not his brother, but his own feelings of being trapped. This would generate the theme of man versus self, and the idea that his only opposition to overcome was the mindset he had been carrying with him ever since being brought up by the woman. By letting the airplane crash on the island, in order to manipulate the people and to have his way over Jacob's, he got himself into unnecessary trouble that costed him his life. There is always a reason behind why such tragic calamities happen, whether it be on television or the real world. Going back on the chat that the mother and the boy in black had beside the ocean about what might exist across the sea sparked a desire of curiosity in him that became unbearable as the years went by, knowing his sentence all along. Due to the isolation and feeling imprisoned, the man in black, who in essence is evil incarnated, or the devil, as put by Richard, tries to free himself without bothering to think about the consequences, whether or not he would drag the whole world down into destruction with him. And even after knowing about the sentence he is given by the woman, he continues blinded by his desperate desire to be free. His actions are underlined by this motive and not directly related to the need for power itself. Above anything else, this episode reveals man's dependence on nature and his weakness compared to nature's strength. No matter how hard the characters in this show try to manipulate nature's force, the island always gets its way with them. Of course, there always could be a different interpretation of why the brothers are opposed to each other. Someone could say it is mainly or simply caused by the geographical isolation, which in itself would be enough to drive everyone desperate. But any kind of interpretation cannot prove entirely correct solely based on exceptions. An interpretation would still have to stand after being tested against other episodes throughout the show. Then again, Jacob's brother is the only one confined to the lonely piece of land and not Jacob himself, as opposed to the theory that there indeed has been a struggle throughout the show lost due to not only the unrealistic possibilities of electromagnetism, but also due to the simple feeling of being confined and having one's freedom chained down.